Welcome back to the fourth lecture in the lecture series of version control systems and collaborative systems. In the previous lecture, we discussed about local Git configuration. We configured the username, email, and the default editor for our local Git environment. Today, I will be showing you how to clone remote repositories to your local workspace and how local branching can be done. So in order to clone the current state of our repository, we have to go back to the repository that we have created in the first two lectures. So here we do have a software engineering one repository. So what we are going to do here is we have to copy the clone address of this repository first. Here you get at the code drop-down menu, you get different options to copy the URL for the clone address of your repository, software engineering one. Here different options, HTTPS, SSH, GitHub CLI options are there. For us, we choose the best one, which is the HTTPS option. I just copied the link of my repository here. So my intention is just to copy or to clone this remote repository to my local workspace. So I have to go back to my terminal, and inside Git container, the container folder that I have created to get rid of messes while working in this lecture series, I'm going to issue a command git clone and paste the clone address that I just copied. So this will directly copy the remote repository software engineering one to my local folder. So in order to access files inside this folder, I can simply get into that folder by using a command, the operating system command cd, which is change directory, to software engineering one. So if I ls here, I see the only file that we have created in the previous lecture, which is readme. So once we create the local copy of the remote repository, the next step would be to see the status of this repository at the moment. So for that, the technique to see the status of the current state of your repository, which is local repository, is git status. So git status shows you if there are any modified documents, if there are any untracked documents inside this folder, or if there are some folders that needs to be committed. This will show you the details of it. Okay, so git status is one very important one. The other important local git management command is git branch. So we have already discussed about the concept behind branch, but here in the local folder, if you issue git branch, it basically shows you the list of branches that are available in this repository. So in our case, since we haven't done any change between those two branches in the main repository at the remote account, then we will have only the main repository cloned to our local workspace. Okay, so if you want to see all repositories, including those in the remote account, you can issue git branch minus all, for instance. Okay, this shows you both the local branch and those which resides in the remote branch. So in this case, for instance, we do have Nathaniel login branch in the remote repository, so it will show you what is there and also what is here in the local workspace. So you can alternatively use git branch minus a, which has the same functionality as git branch minus all. So here we do have, for instance, a branch. So the other technique here is a technique to create branches locally. We have seen how to create branches using GitHub, but we haven't seen how to create branch using Git. So for that, we use again git branch command, and then we have to specify the name of the new branch. So for instance, let's say the guy who wants to create this new branch is called Abebe, and the purpose of his branch would be, let's say, human resource. So the module could be human resource, or the module assigned for the user or programmer might be HR or human resource. So The essence of this one is that Abebe will be working on the module HR by using a separate timeline of the primary screenshot or snapshot of the repository, which is a branch called Abebe HR. So if you again issue a command git branch, you will see Abebe HR as the second uh, branch in this repository. So at this moment, the content of main and the content of Abebe HR is the same because we haven't done any updates on Abebe HR and also in the main branch. So in order to navigate between these branches, the command will be git checkout, then the name of the branch that you want to access. In our case, it is Abebe HR. So if you see now, if you issue git branch command, you will see the asterisk place is changed to Abebe HR. This asterisk shows your current position. So currently we are at Abebe HR branch. Okay, so here, for instance, if you nano the README file from Abebe HR, it will show you something, software engineering one from main branch, it says. So we can modify this one, for instance. We can say from Abebe HR branch, okay? And this is the basic way to modify your code. By the way, you can modify your files directly by using Explorer of your operating system. And if you prefer to use terminals, you can also use terminals to navigate or to trigger text editors from your operating system and manipulate or modify the files that are incorporated in your version control enabled folder. So once we create a branch, so in our case, for instance, the name of our branch, the current branch is Abebe HR, we can do whatever we want in this branch, which doesn't have a direct impact on the main branch or the branch from which we copied the current state of our branch. So in order to check whether our files in the branch, the new branch, are up to date, we issue a command git status. We have seen this one a couple of minutes ago. So when you issue git status, it shows you modifications made on the README file. We have already modified the README file of Abebe HR branch from README from main to README from Abebe HR branch. So for that purpose, it identifies it as a modified file. So in our previous lecture, we discussed about the different states of files in version control systems. For instance, files could be untracked, files could be modified, files could be staked, and files could be committed or tracked. Okay, so in order to move or transform untracked files to tracked files, what you have to do is you have to add these untracked files to the staging area of your version control system. The same is true for modified files, which are previously being tracked. If you modify some contents of a file under a version control enabled repository or workspace, then the command that you can issue to stage it to the next step towards committing is git add. Okay, in our case, for instance, we have a README file which is modified. We have to commit this change to the branch Abebe HR, and for that purpose, what we can do is git add, okay, and the name of the file. So git add README. Then, in this case, if you check again the status of this file is marked as light green. This means it's staged now. Okay, it's staged now. So it's ready for being committed or for being written to the local snapshot of Abebe HR branch. So the next step after staging any modified file that's being tracked is to use git commit. So you can directly issue git commit, but if you want to add message along with this commit command, you can also add -a to your command. So here the Git or the version control system shows you an interface to write your message for this specific commit. So now we are just committing changes made at the README file of branch above HR. So I can write a commit which is very informant to the reader. I may say I just changed the README file of above HR from README of main to README of above HR. That's what we have done. So let's save. And if you now check the status of your branch git status, it says there is nothing to commit because we have already committed everything that we have modified to the above HR. But if you see again the file, which is the README file, it's a file that says that has a title software engineering 1 from above HR branch. But if you go back to the other branch by checkout, by using git checkout to main, okay, let me clear. Now let's check where I am. Git branch, I'm at the main branch. So if you check the content of the README file from main, you won't get the modified one because it says software engineering from main branch. In the previous one, it says software engineering from above HR branch. So this is what we mean by an independent timeline from the same repository. So branching helps you to, or enables you to create independent timelines from the same repository so that different programmers can work on different branches and different timelines, but in the same repository at the same time. So that's all about Git branching for now. And in the next class, I will be discussing about pushing your changes in the local repository to the remote repository.